Hey folks, hi, this is Tim Fasano, Tampa, and this is the beautiful, tranquil, and alluring Florida Wild River behind me. And I want to shift gears a little bit today. I want to talk about something that I don't normally get into. Everybody knows what I do for a living, and I talk to a lot of people. Talk to people all day long. I've been doing it for 16 years. I've never seen people that were as worried as they are now. The people I pick up to are very worried, or if not scared. This water behind me, Progress Energy, which is the largest power company in the state of Florida. They've detected radiation in this water. Now they say they've isolated to iodine 131, which is a radioactive isotope, and because it doesn't involve other elements, that the conclusion is that this is originated from the power plant in Japan, Fukusuko, or however you pronounce it. And somehow that's not a comforting thought, because the people that I speak with, they've all turned to their government in their lifetime. They look to the government for solutions to problems and for protection. And the thought that radiation can find its way into our fresh water systems from another country halfway around the world is just not settling well with people. And people are worried about a lot of things. They're worried about why do we continue to have such high unemployment? Why is inflation, if not hyperinflation, beginning to settle in? Why are our taxes so high? Why has there been a quadrupling of the national deficit since the Obama administration took over? Why are we engaging in more wars throughout the world? Why are energy costs going up? What did you pay for a gallon of gasoline this morning? And what do you think you'll pay by tomorrow? It's going up on a daily basis. People tell me they don't see our government as having any answers to anything. That the current administration seems to have something even worse than a decentralized, bifurcated form of management. They almost seem to have, as they demonstrated in the BP oil spill, that they have it's a your problem, you created it, you fix it type of attitude. BP was responsible for the oil, you take 5 months to clean it up. What do we have to do about it? Nuclear crisis in Japan. They don't recognize it as a crisis. They don't have anyone that can understand that radiation is in this very water behind me. If I had a Geiger counter right now, you'd be hearing it. They figure it's Japan's problem. Even more isolated than that, it's the power company in Japan's problem. They created it, they did it, they fix it. I mean, you see that philosophy going right through to the supporters of this administration, where they essentially say that every problem in the world was created by George Bush. Since George Bush created that problem, it's up to George Bush to solve that problem. What do we have to do with anything like that? We're not responsible. And this is essentially what you get in, and I think that's not playing well anymore with people. I saw this documentary the other night on the History Channel. It was pretty frightening. It was called Prophets of Doom. And there was a man on there, Dr. Nathan Hagen, who used to be a hedge fund manager, who has now created his own think tank called the oildrum.com. It's a fabulous website. Go to it. What Dr. Hagen believes is that the last couple of 100 years, to be really brief, we've created a society in a modern world that's totally dependent upon fossil fuels and natural gas and coal. And that we're reaching a state of scarcity, if not eventual depletion of these supplies. And that when you look at the ability to deliver electricity in our cities and to transport goods and services across the country, to the point that the average food item on your dinner plate has traveled 1,500 miles to get to that plate. He says that ability each and every day is almost indistinguishable from magic. But magic cannot continue, because when there is an inevitable breakdown in that system, let's say based on scarcity of fossil fuel or the inability to acquire fossil fuel because of political unrest or just out and out denial of the prized oil, then we reach a situation that we haven't had in 200 years in this country. And that's people having difficulty getting food. Since most people do not farm, where are you going to get food? Most people don't have cattle in their backyard or chickens. So he paints a pretty scary scenario. Now, I don't believe that. See, I do not believe, as he says, that in future generations it's going to be generations of diminishing return. That each offspring will have to accept less and less, to the point, I guess, inevitably in his mind, that we end up as organic farmers. I reject that. I look at the human race and the history of it, and I see that we've solved every problem that's gotten in front of us. We even put men on the moon. Why? Because we wanted to. That's why. There's a saying in the Marine Corps, the impossible takes just a little longer. And I think we can solve these problems, but we need leadership. And we need people who are going to accept responsibility for what's going on, who are going to have the foresight and the wisdom to recognize problems in advance and not just say, well, let NATO handle it. Well, what did NATO do this morning? They killed 18 of their own people. I guess they call that friendly fire. You see, I grew up, I learned from my grandfather. You want something done, you do it yourself. You don't rely on somebody else, or just tell somebody else go do it. Well, anyway, I'm the Bigfoot beast hunter in Florida, and for now, that's what I got to say.